Hello and welcome. I'm John Strazdins from Altair. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. In the next, we'll say 45 to 50 minutes, and definitely have a lot of time for questions. We'll cover Monarch and Monarch Classic. We're going to focus on Monarch Data Prep Studio. It's one of the best kept secrets that is on your PC that you're probably not using. This webinar is intended for both new and existing Monarch users, and we're going to go through Monarch Data Prep Studio and show all the neat features that you might be able to use. Before we get started, I'd just like to talk about Altair. I came from DataWatch. Altair bought DataWatch acquisition about 4 to 5 years ago. With the acquisition of Altair, we have all this software that is included in the license. So I just want to show really quickly, we have not only Monarch, but a lot of other data analytics tools. Going to our marketplace, and this just shows you where you can download the software, including Monarch. What I like to do is we have over 155 different applications. I like to go to product groups and data analytics, as I'm more of a data analytics guy. And you'll see here we have Monarch Complete. This is where you can, this tile here shows where you can download the software and see different release information and stuff like that. Just to highlight, we have, if you'd like additional automation, we have the Monarch server. So this takes your Monarch models and your workspaces from Data Prep Studio, and it does the before and after. So you can just tell it if something shows up in a file system or at a certain time of day, it'll take those files, process them, and do all the stuff that you normally do with Monarch, and then put it either in a file or in a database or send an email. So it does the before and after. So I like to call it set up and forget. So you have automation there. We have a recent acquisition of RapidMiner. We've renamed it to Altair AI and AI Studio, AI Hub. Wizard-driven AI. So if you have data that you'd like to make predictions out of or enhance processes across other systems where you can give it variables and give you an answer back using AI, this is what that's for. Robotic process automation is the Amdosoft B4. Really just, it's great to demo because you already know exactly what to do. It records all your clicks and all your keyboard strokes and is a repetitive way to commit transactions. So if you have to download a bunch of files every day, or you have to enter a lot of GL entries or do something in a repetitive way, it's a software agnostic. So it uses the GUI, and you just have the little robot, you feed it the data, which is typically from Monarch, the clean data, and it just goes and commits all the transactions. So and you'll notice that everything through our portfolio is no code, low code. So we're designed for the business user or someone that just is really good with the business process, and we can make the software can help you do more. Just going through, we have visualization software called Panopticon. We have, if you have the language of SAS, we have the SAS compiler and some other stuff here. So just wanted to show what we have. Let me just close this out. Now we're going to move on to, I think most people use Monarch Classic. So let's just, on your desktop, if you hit the start button, you'll notice you'll have a Monarch 2023 folder here. When I click on it, you'll notice that you have two things. We have Monarch Classic, which is most everyone uses because they've been using this. Monarch's been around for over 32 years. And the intention of Monarch was to take the report files or files that are just kind of in PDF or text files. Again, we have additional formats, and I'll show you that in a moment. But you take that, you create a model telling you what do you want to take out of that PDF file or that text file, and then puts it into rows and columns. And you can have as many of the same report as you want, but you get one model with Monarch Classic. With the Data Prep Studio, you can have as many data sources as you want, including a PDF or text file. It could be a website, it could be a database, and you can have as many data sources as you want. It's Monarch Classic, you have one. And this is where you can do your personal workflows, and everything's very low code or no code. And the nice thing is, so essentially anything you do in Excel or Access, we've combined that capability with Monarch Classic, and that's Data Prep Studio. So that will be the focus today, but I'm going to show a couple tricks and tips on both of them. So just Monarch Classic, which you might be familiar, looks like this. One thing that I've noticed everyone doing is they like to do the file and open everything. I'd just like to show a quick little a fast way to do it, which I like to do it. And so here's my report here. It's a PDF file. All if you have a little window here, just from Windows Explorer, so I'm hitting the little yellow box right down here. Open it up just enough that you can see both the classic screen here, this white screen, and the Windows Explorer window. Just simply drag it inside, just dragging in my report here, and you can see it accepted it and says, okay, do you want to do any options to it? Just hit accept here. And then all you need to do is take your model. So here's my classic model, and just drag it on here, and then it applies the model. And this is where you can go see it in the table format. And then if you need to make additional fields, you could just go to table design, and you can reorder the fields if you want. Like maybe I want to make this higher or lower. And then, you know, if I can always add a field here, and this could be like a formula field. And this is where you can add, you would have to know the functions, and which aren't difficult to use. Like if you wanted to split a field in half based on the space, you can do that. I think that's an L split. Let's go look to see how good my memory is today. So that's a left. There's an L split. So again, here you have a field, and you can say, okay, based on the, let's go find a nice field here, username. Maybe we want to split this. So there's the first one. And the thing I like about this is you can split this into 2 sections. So it tells you at the bottom how you want to use that function. So there we're just saying, okay, we're going to split on you know, the space. So the username there's usually a first name and last name. We're going to split it in twice. We're going to have a white space, and maybe I only want the first name. So let's see what happens with that. So in the window at the bottom, you can see here that now it's William. So William before is William Fishner was the username that I used. You can see here I added that calculated field, the formula field, and we can name that formula field whatever you want right here. So this is just a quick way that you can use Classic to enhance your data, if your rows and columns that you received from the PDF or text file. And you know, you can look up fields, all this kind of fun stuff. So a lot of fun things Monarch Classic can do. The one thing I wanted to show, and then just for exporting, you can have as many exports as you want. I just like to hit the create export button. We can give it a file location here, wherever typically folks use a network drive. Excel is super popular, so let's export it into Excel. This would be the tab name in Excel, because Excel has as many tabs where you get the export. And then we can go to advanced options here if you wanted to keep this as a repetitive export. So if you want to have this as an entry there, or you can just simply, I just took that out. Let's put this back. We're going to export out this as Excel. And this is where you can just run the export here, or you can add it to a project. So the reason I came here was we talked about, you probably been using models, and models could be .mod, .xmod, or the new format is .dmod. That's with Monarch 15 and up. They changed the format to DMOD. All upward compatible. And it just, when you save this, it'll be a DMOD. And if you have the concept of projects here, so this will save all the other stuff, like if you've made reports or you have the different exports, you can simply, instead of having a model, the project includes the model and all your other customizations. So you can really quickly open up Monarch, drag your files in, drag that project in, and just export, and it's super. You'll be in a minute. Okay, perfect. I'm just going to close Classic, because that was just our quick little thing on Monarch Classic I wanted to show. What I just showed you was instead of having to go to the file, open, and navigate around, you can just simply drag your files in, and just really quick on models and projects. Okay, moving on. Now this is the Data Prep Studio, so I'm going to hit the start button here just to show you where we can access this. And this will be spending most of the time today. And of course, if we have free workshop sessions, so working sessions, so just let your account executive know, and we can absolutely set up one-on-ones, because the easiest thing is working with a problem that you already have, or a process that you already have, and how we can bring this into Monarch Data Prep Studio to make it more automated. I'm going to be here today, and this will be on your laptop. So the current release of Monarch is 2023, and we'll be working with Monarch Data Prep Studio. So we were just in Monarch Classic right here. Now we're going to be switching to Monarch Data Prep Studio. And this is where Altair has putting a lot of the development in the last 8 to 9 years. You'll see every time you have a little button here, which is a circle with a triangle, you can expand or you can collapse. So this gives you that usability here. The 3 little lines is our menu, and it's instead of a model, it's called a workspace in Data Prep Studio. So workspace includes everything that you do. So every click that you change a field or you add data sources, that's all called metadata, and that's all included, and it remembers everything. So it doesn't record your data, it just records how you did everything. And that's what's nice about Monarch Data Prep Studio, is that you have that lineage, that audit of everything you've done from dragging the file in to creating fields. You can see exactly what you have it in the change history. I'll be following the top here. You can see there's preview, prepare, transform, combine, analyze, and so this is kind of the flow that you use to get your data, massage your data. Maybe you want to group your data or join your data together, make a couple reports and analyze and get the data out. So this is where we'll be focusing a lot of our time today. On the right-hand side here are quick links to video tutorials, documentation, support. So these are fast buttons to help you get to what you need if you need a resource. I'm going to click the Open Data button because a lot of things have changed since Classic. So Monarch Data Prep Studio can not only take PDF and text files, but a lot of other formats too. So we have we have this table extractor, which is kind of neat. You can have a PDF file and it creates a throwaway model where you just draw a box over the part of the PDF file that you like, and it just creates a table out of it. So super fun. It's a one-time use though, so it's not repeatable, just so you know. We can take different spreadsheets in, SAS files is quite interesting. If you have a connection to databases, so database or database view, where you would have a username and password, this is where you can look at the different databases you have and connect real time. So it doesn't have to be a just flat file. We can go to web sources as well and different database sources. If you use Amazon S3 for files, to drop files, we can access those, business object reports, Salesforce reports. So any type of reports from a live system, we can access those. We have big data connectors. You can go to web pages and extract web pages out. It could be survey files, that's what JSON typically is, or just interesting XML files, and we do EDI. So it's actually nice. So what's happened is Monarch, not only the intention of Monarch came from PDF and text files, and now we can really, any kind of file format that's just a little bit difficult, most likely Monarch can take that in. Okay, so let's go find some sample files and we'll go from there. All right, so I'm going to take that same text, that PDF file here, and it opened on a different window. And here's our file that we'll be using today. Our eyeballs know how to use this, and where we know, okay, there's money here, okay, but that's at a little lower level. And this $29,000 transaction is tied to the location 39th Street, which is tied to this capture method, which is based on these dates. And William actually did the report for here. So you can see that your eye kind of centers in the middle and then goes up, or possibly you want like a total. So at the bottom here, maybe you want to capture a grand total where your eye would go down. This is how Monarch does it, is we look for the most important line or lines in the report. And what we do is we identify a pattern. So the pattern here could be the word tell. It could be, oh, you must have a whole bunch of blanks here, and then I get what I want here. So you can be on positional, it can be literal, it can be a lot of different ways. So what we're doing is we're looking for a pattern here, and then that's the detail template, and you get one of those. And then what we can do is, if we want to grab information that's above, that's an append template, because append templates look up. And then if we want information that's down from the detail template, that is a footer template, so subfooter. So you'll see here that that's how we create models. And Monarch, we've been doing it for quite a while. So we have a neat way to automatically create models for you, or we can do them manually. And usually it's pretty good, and we'll test that out today. So all you do is take your PDF file and you just drag it into Monarch. And you can see here, okay, this is like when you're building a house and you're trying to level the floor. So before anything happens, a little pre-processing here where we can take away white spaces. We can, move things around. So this is helping us, because the idea here is we want to have everything lined up as much as possible, because that makes our life super easy. So I'll just make this a little smaller. It'll be in a little eye test here. So you can see the dollar amounts are interesting, and everything's pretty lined up here, so that's okay. What makes Monarch so unique is we have all these patents on processing PDF files, and this is what that engine version is. I actually like engine version 4.4 because this is 4.4 is nice. You'll see nothing really changed, but it just processes just slightly. Engine version 4.5 is great when people don't have things lined up in a report. So it just depends. I like between these two versions here, and these are patents that are unique to Altair. I'm just going to hit accept because everything looked pretty good there. What is pretty impressive is now we talked about those templates. So I'm going to hit the auto define button. Let's see how good Monarch is in figuring out what I want. So I hit the auto define button, and you can see a lot of things just happened in like a split second. And you can see here that we have all these different templates that weren't there before, and all these little yellows and oranges. And I'll explain that in a moment. So remember, the detail template is the most important template here. So this determines what makes this a record. And we'll see here that it was actually correct, where the detail template is the yellow here, and the money is what's most important to me. So what Monarch proposed is, it said, let me make it just a little bit bigger so we can see it. It used it's using patterns to identify that specific line. So in this case here, it's using that little B and that little O with a line through it. So it's saying that in that position, it must be blank. And then in the next position, it must be not blank. Conversely, we could have just said, we could have typed in the word tell here, and that would have looked for the pattern. So, but that's not all what it did. So it looked for that one. And then as we go over, it noticed that it was consistently having a number in this position. So that's what this little N here is. It's any number right there, N with the tilde on top, and then any number with the tilde on top here. Now we could have looked for a decimal point here because that's lined up. We could have looked for, if we were using floating traps, which is a more advanced section that we certainly can cover at another time, we could have looked for dollar signs. So what we're doing is we're looking at what makes this specific line unique, this yellow unique. So this is one way to do it here. And that's pretty good. Now, but that's not all. We want more in this report. So we found the money, but then we have these append templates to enrich it or glue an additional field. So we have this template here that's looking for the specific word zone. And then in this area here, it's highlighting Mountain Standard Time or whatever's in the report, it'll take that. We have another template here looking for the process date. So it's literally looking for process date there. And then whatever in this position here. So then you can have as many templates as you want. You only can have one detailed template, but you can have as many appends and as many group footers. So group footers go down, appends go up. All right. And then for additional things, if you have too much stuff and the patterns are too similar, you can use what's called an exclusion template. So you can say just omit, if you see this word or see this pattern, just don't do it, just ignore it, and that's what that does. And start region is if you have a large report that sometimes back in the day when space was very expensive, companies would send 50 reports in one file, and you can say, okay, start when you see this report name and then end when you see this report name. So that's what the start and end region do there. Perfect. I'm just going to accept this. Again, we offer working sessions, so there's a lot more that we can cover here. Before I go, I do love to see report verify. This is kind of like a spell check, just like in Word, where I just can't live without. And it'll make sure that we're grabbing all the different fields. So if we did have a problem where when you highlight fields and it was not capturing everything, it would tell us here. So notice it was a little bit generous on before and after. So what Monarch did was when it auto-defined our template, it actually said, oh, I noticed there were some cases where the field shifted a little bit. So that's why it was a little generous before and after. You can see here it says Archie, Goodwin Airport, so that's why if it was truncating something, it would tell us right here. I'm just going to hit accept. So all I did was I dragged the file in, and then we hit auto define, and then we got our model. So this is where we're in the prepare tab here. Notice every time you see a little star, it means that something's changed. So if you like what you did, make sure you save your work. You can save your work with a little disk here. And again, I'm dating myself because no one uses disks anymore. But that's what's supposed to be look like a disk. Or you can hit the little 3 lines here and save workspace. So notice it's not a model or a project. This is a workspace in Data Prep Studio. All right, the thing I like about this is on the left-hand side is all our different personal workflows, and we're gonna end up with 2 today because what I'm gonna do is, my challenge is I have this PDF report and it has what I want, but I need to add the department number to it because I don't have a department number here. I just have, a location, and then I want to make sure that all my data is correct. So I'm going to look to see if there's any transactions that look a little weird because I want to audit as I go too. So that's our scenario today. So we're on the prepare tab. Our workflows are on the left-hand side. Every time I make a change or do something, it's recorded in the change history on our right-hand side here. So as you see me click things, so you'll see this populate up, and this is what is so powerful because in the exact order that you want to do something, it records it. So it's almost like a macro that never breaks in Excel. And we all know like macros are great until you do something, then it's like, oh no, what did I do? And I can't fix it. Well, Monarch has it right here, and it'll tell you if it has a problem as well. So it's super friendly. Okay, so here we're in the data. This looks good, but I have these extra spaces. So if I want to do something to this field, all I hit is the drop down on this column here. And in this case, I want to get rid of spaces. So there's over 80 different functions in here. And the thing I like about this is that in Classic, where I showed you earlier when we created that field, I kind of had to know it was like a left trim or left split, and I had to kind of know what it is, and then it worked. Well, here is you just know, oh, I want to clean this field and just get rid of the spaces before and after, and it does it. Now notice on the right hand side here, it created this change history record, and I can take this and I can reapply this to other fields that are applicable. Like, so I know like the AB here is a character field, and you can see here like this is a date field with the time. So depending, the little functions that you can do are slightly different based on the field type here. So notice how this menu is a little bit longer because it's a character field. One thing what makes this super easy is, let's say I need to manipulate this field. So maybe I wanted batch capture in 2 fields instead of 1. Well, that's great. So we just click the little down arrow and let's cruise around. And there's a couple ways we can do it. We can split the field from left to right based on like the space or based on a word or a character. Or I could do the extract using, so let's say it's extractor. I can extract, if I know like batch is always, it's always 5 characters. We can do it from the left there. Let's go back and see a couple more. Let's go extract here. I can do it from the right. I can do it from, position. So maybe I always start at this position here and then keep going. So you have all these different capabilities. One of my favorites is split. So we just looked at extract right there. I like split because it makes your life super easy. From left to right or right to left. And the split delimiter I can see is the space. So I can just say, just hit the space in here, and it automatically knows it's going to use 2 columns. And maybe I just don't need the original column. So let's hit the little checkbox there to remove the original column. When I hit OK, it just broke that field into 2 fields for me, and it automatically got rid of the normal one. And you can see here on the right-hand side it has the capture method. Our split was just right there. Now I can undo it, I can redo it, and I can go, oh no, I need to do a change. That's when you hit the little pencil here. And when you hit the pencil, it takes you back to that screen where you did that little feature. So no worries. And if you want to get rid of it, you can always delete the change and go from there. Excuse me, my voices, I think I've been talking already too much. Okay, so we have this data. This is great, but it's too detailed for me. So I need to consolidate this. So I have 3 entries for 39th Street. I have a bunch of entries for Adams. There's just like, I need to sum up the transactions per location. So this is when we move over to the Transform tab. And this is the kind of stuff that you do in Excel and Access, mostly Excel. You can sort, what we're going to be doing today is grouping. So what grouping does is we just group on a specific location, and we can summarize the amounts. You'll see me do it in a second. You can do pivots, like a pivot table. You can do unpivots. Unpivots are really interesting if you have to do like a data load program, like maybe you have GL entries, or the GL entry keeps repeating, but the number changes and some other little things change. So these are kind of interesting to create a list. You can look for duplicates. You can flip your data around because sometimes you want to see it a slightly different way. So these things are typically very hard to do in Excel, but they're very easy to do in Monarch. So we're going to hit group today. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to group on the location. That's what the little key means. And I don't need all these fields. I'm just interested in the amounts. And you can see here it automatically summarizes the amounts. If I wanted to see accounts or the medium or averages or first or last, I can do that too. But I'm just doing these 2 clicks here. And you'll notice here I went from the model to the data set, which I did some things for. And you can see I have my change history on my right-hand side, to the grouping of the data. So you can easily see where everything's going at each level of what I've done in Monarch. This is money. So, and you can see this is the pound sign here is numbers, and that's good because money is numbers. I want to make it numbers. So let's hit format, and I'm just going to hit currency. So you can do any kind of formatting you want here with custom, but usually we have a button that you can press. And you can see here on the right-hand side, it formatted that into numbers, which is great. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is let's drag in our. This is great, but I need to know. Department numbers because I have location, but that doesn't help me because I need to pass this information on to another system here. So that no worries. We have those. This is master data. I have this in an Excel spreadsheet. So again, it doesn't have to be a PDF file. It can be whatever format you want. And so the idea here is like we wanted to say 39th Street has got to be department numbered 32. So we have this extra data that doesn't change very much, but I need to use that. So all I do is drag this in to Monarch. And we actually can do modeling on Excel files as well. And I'll be getting to that after we do the PDF files. Makes your life super easy, and you'll see why in a moment. I'm just going to hit no here because it's already in rows and columns, and we're just going to load that first sheet. And here I can just say master data. So anything you click on, you can change to make it a little more useful. And so this is the master data describing all the different department and branch names. Now, what I have here is the location. Now, notice the field's different, but I know the data is the same. So I have 39th Street here, and then let's look at 39th Street is somewhere in here. It's over here. So I needed to get 32. So I need Monarch to blend these together. What's nice about Monarch, we can do lookups just like you can do in Excel, but I really love using joins, and this is where we get into the Microsoft Access functionality. You don't need to know SQL at all. You just need to know what you want to do. And the neat thing about this is you'll see some powerful features in just a moment. So to add these tables together, because we want to join, we want to have the department number associated with the branch name, I'm just going to double click, or I can drag away. And I can keep doing this. So I can join as many fields as I want and keep going. I'm just going to click to join. And then we'll see here that we notice the branch name and location, those are the same fields, but they're not labeled the same. Monarch's pretty smart where we can hit recommend keys. Now you already know, we know the data looks right, but we're gonna see if Monarch can figure it out. And anything over 80%, it figured out that, these look pretty good. The confidence interval is pretty high. So we're just gonna hit the green here. Notice how it created these little keys. And if if you knew your data, you could just hit the keys yourself. That these this shows that the data matches from one table to the other table, and we want to add them. We're able to add additional data to this table. So, and this is the kind of question we want to ask. So this is a perfect join here where just include everything that's on both tables together. And you notice how the row count down here is 37. We can say, all right, keep everything on the master data table here, and then what doesn't match on the other side, don't keep it. Or on the reverse side is you can say keep everything from the PDF file and just what's matches on the Excel file. Notice how the row count came to be 38. So this is a little interesting to me. So because these should be equal, but I might have a data problem. And this is something where Monarch is really good about auditing your data as well as transforming your data in the same step, because you never really know you have a data problem until it's a big problem. I like the full outer join. So this one says, give me what matches and what doesn't match is going to be in red. And this tells me that it's giving me everything. So this is a full outer join. Now, if we were just looking for problems, we can do negative joins here. So we can say, tell me what doesn't match between these two tables. And notice how I have a row count of 1. So again, so we can, depending on the question you want to answer, you can do as many of these as you want and as many workflows as you want. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to go back to standard and we're going to do a full outer join because I want to see everything, and then we're going to make 2 little workflows out of this. Oh, you know, I made a mistake already because there's too many fields here, but that's not a problem because all I can do is hit the down arrow here. You can always go back and you can always adjust things. So I'm just going to go to edit here, and then I don't need all this stuff. I just want the department ID and I need to know who to contact because that's usually the most important thing. So let's fix that. Notice that looks a little bit better. I'm going to go back to the prepare tab. And we can see here that the manager, I always like to put manager on the end, so it's pretty easy. Just take the field and drag it. Now, I noticed, so we got some red here. So there was a non-branch transaction in that PDF file, and it doesn't have a master data file. So in this case, it would just fall off and just go nowhere. And that's $2,000 that needs to be accounted for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this workflow that I created and we're going to duplicate it. And I'm just going to rename this to audit because I'm going to audit my data as I go. And the thing I'm looking for is anything that's null. So all I have to do is, again, this field, the department ID is what I'm looking at. I hit the down arrow here and I can choose a filter. And since it's null, if is null, I want you to, see again, I did it wrong again. Because it's not null, but I want is null. So that's okay. I can always go back to the change history, hit the little pencil here, and then say, oh, it's null. So Monarch is super forgiving, and it helps you guide you through. So again, all that change history is a lifesaver because it always, it's like you know exactly how to get back. And now always you can undo and you can redo the changes. So, and this is where I can have my data here. So we'll just name it to thing or something a little more meaningful. So you can see here I have a data set with all my data, and then I have my audit data set here. In this case, I'm going to pass this on to another system just for housekeeping. I don't want to have null data in because I'm going to have an error when everyone uses this file. So I'm going to filter, and this one I'm going to say is not null. Oops, my mouse keeps clicking the wrong one. All right, so now we took that away. Perfect. And that was the combine tab right here. If you had the append tab is actually quite cool. We won't get into this today, but if you were merging reports from different systems or the same system and maybe January, February, March, April, and then December, you can drag them all in and and blend them into one table really easily there. Perfect. And then we'll move on to the Analyze tab here. And this is where we can do really cool drill down reports and really pivot tables. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go to make a report on this data set that has the most. You can see here I have all these different tiers as I brought the report in, and then I got the data, all the data, and then I grouped it and did things. So it just shows you from the bottom to top of how the data has been transformed. Since I want a lot of data, I want all the data before I did something to it. We're going to click on this little node here, and I'm going to create what's called a summary. Essentially, it's a report. I'm interested in seeing where did those non-branch numbers come from? So I know I want the money. I've got the location here, but I want to break it out by user. So notice how like I'm going to have users by different columns, locations is going to be going up and down, and then show me the money. So really quickly, just those three. I see Melissa and William did some transactions, and the non-branch transaction, it was both Melissa and William. And see, the neat part about this is that you can easily see we were looking for the group number 2,522, but this happened with a couple different transactions. So if you were looking for this number, you would have never found it, but you can see the breakout here by user. And what I love about these summaries is that you get grand totals and you can get subtotals. So you can be as interesting as you want. You can have color coding. You can do all this really neat stuff with summaries. And this is just included if you have all the data you want, you can do quick reports here. Moving on to the export tab. At any level, you can export your data. So let's say we want our full data set, and let's export this to Excel, and let's call this sample .xls. Okay, perfect. And we'll put this here. So we have that node going. I want that report too. So we're going to hit this, and we're going to export that summary into the same Excel file. So notice how I'm just going to put the same file name here. And then all I need to do is append to it, and we'll just append, we'll just overwrite that. So what happens is the first one creates the file, the second one adds to it, and then let's get our audit tab too. Let's add that one to this Excel file. And so we'll give it the same location, and when the file exists, just append to it and overwrite. So I can either export one specifically, or I can export them all. And let's go take a quick look at this, and there it highlights it up. And you can see here, here's the export where it did the department IDs. This is all my data that I had. I can go onto my report here, and I can see all the different stuff. And then I have the audit. So I can export as much as I want into one Excel file. It makes it super easy. And the cool part about this is, let's close this out. This is reusable. So what I've done is I can do this, so I can just save this, and when tomorrow's files come, I can just drag them in. So as what I would do is, let's just take out these reports here, and let's bring in our sample. So like if I had if I had 10, if I had 10 reports or 100 reports of the same type of report, I could just drag them all in. And then when it turns green, this is where you can do it. So you don't have to just do one. You can drag in as many of the same type of reports that you want. I like to drag. So we're going to put, let's say, tomorrow's report here, and we could drag this in here. Another way, if you wanted to do it even faster, you could even go to edit all file paths, and it knows if you repeated one, and you can just add it that way for tomorrow's files. So this workspace is completely reusable. I just did a start to finish on one process here to audit our transactions coming in. But the nice thing is that everything I did is captured in the change history on the right-hand side, and you can see everything that happens. Just a couple more things before we're done today. Sometimes you get these interesting Excel files. So here's an Excel file that has a bunch of different departments. This is a payroll report. And what makes this really interesting is that, sometimes they worked, sometimes they didn't. It could be a lot of people, it could be not a lot of people. So this is from our eyeballs understand, but if I had to do some reporting on this, this would be really hard, or if I want to get this in rows and columns, because Selena she's attached to all these earnings, deductions, and taxes, and so but it's not exactly rows and columns. So this is where Monarch is really cool. All I have to do is drag that report in, and this time we're going to hit yes. So we're going to use that same modeling concept that we saw with the PDF files to Excel. And what I like to do is I like to click the row that has the most stuff that I want. Now the ER amount isn't here, but we'll add this in, and I'll show you how. But what Monarch's going to figure out, just like that auto define that we saw with the PDF file, we have that button here. So what it did was it proposed, based on row 6 here that had stuff, it noticed that it wanted all these fields. So the little triangle without any that's not filled in are the fields it's grabbing. And then the triangle here that you can see here, our trap is on F, and this is where it says it must be a number. So let's go check it out. So it's saying here, in cell F must have a number, or else I'm not going to grab you. So this is how it created the same kind of traps. The ER amount is something I want. So what I'm going to do is just going to say add column here, and then it just adds that column. And then I can set up additional traps if I want. So looking through the data to make sure I grab everything. But what's nice about this is, I have the data, but now I want these named something meaningful. So I click on the row that has something meaningful, and I can say define headers. Notice how it changed all the headers to what I needed. So that was I didn't have to do a lot of typing. But the nice thing about Monarch is it can look up and down. So I need the project number associated with this. So let's just add this as a dependency. Notice how it just glued this on at the end. I want the dates that it was ran. So let's add that. And I want the department number because that's super important too. So really quickly, you just saw me have this interesting Excel file and I just added all this stuff to it. When I hit accept, you can see here that this is something that a person had to do 39 times, but you don't have to because you have 39 sheets. You can just say all worksheets and then hit OK. And notice what it's doing here. It's just adding up and it's flattening out the data for us. So which is pretty cool. And this is where you can do reports instead of having maybe looking by person. You can, maybe we can do here. We'll group by. Let's see what we have here. Okay, so project. So each department is in A. So let's group. So maybe we want to group on A this time, and then we want to have the hours, the amounts, and the pay summarized. So here is where we just took the information and flipped it sideways, where we had our different departments, and now we can see the different, pays and deductions that they had, and we can do interesting that way. So it's really Monarch's designed to take all this data that has that's difficult, and then just make it easy to transform it into however you'd like to see it. Okay. We're almost out of time for the demo. I just would love to open up for questions if we have any. At this time, does anyone have any questions? And no worries, certainly we're gonna have this recording sent out to everyone. And if you'd like any additional like working sessions, just contact your sales rep. Or just reply to the email, and we can definitely get free working sessions available to you at any time. The intention of this webinar was just to introduce the Monarch 2023, both the classic, just a couple tips and tricks, and also the Data Prep Studio, which we focused on mostly today. I appreciate so much your time today. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.